This episode is brought to you by ARX. You want to be a successful strength training studio owner. The problem is you aren't able to deliver the safest, most efficient and effective workouts, making it harder for you to attract and retain clients, which makes you feel frustrated. I understand that it can be difficult to differentiate your business without the right tools. ARX's breakthrough adaptive resistance technology uses patented motorized resistance and computer software to give you and your clients the perfect workout every single time. BioFit founder John Zarbok says that ARX is clearly the superior tool to deliver the exercise stimulus. My clients are seeing insane improvements in weeks, not months. I could not fathom running my business without ARX. So here's how you get started. Number one, go to arxfit.com/HIB to get $500 off your ARX machines. Number two, book a call with the ARX sales team. And number three, learn how ARX can help you grow your strength training business. Go to arxfit.com/HIB so you can stop struggling to attract and retain clients and start to grow your strength training business with confidence. Lawrence Neal here, and welcome back to highintensitybusiness.com. This is the podcast where we discuss high-intensity strength training and provide you with the tools, the tactics, and strategies to help you grow your strength training business. This is episode 341, and the topic of this episode is how to find a HIT trainer near you using HITuni's new high-intensity training gym directory. Now, I must get an email every single week from someone looking for a high-intensity trainer somewhere in the world, and it's all over the place. I have people from the US, people from Australia, the UK, Europe, all looking for trainers. And so then there are a few directories available out there, but none as comprehensive as what Simon and his team at HITuni have created in terms of the details around each personal training business, the services, the pricing, the opening hours. So I got really excited when Simon announced the HITuni HIT Gym directory, as it's now going to be the go-to place where I just send everyone who emails me who's looking for a high-intensity training studio or a job opportunity as a trainer. And to join me on the podcast today to talk about this is HITuni founder Simon Shawcross. Simon, great to have you back on the podcast.
Hey, Lawrence. Great to be back.
Great to see you. It's been a while. We were just catching up there, obviously.
It has pre-COVID and all of that stuff.
So much has happened. So much has happened. So it's really good that you guys are well, growing family, and just I love just catching up with you. So let's just kick off with just some basics. Tell us what is the HIT Gym directory, if it's not already so self-explanatory.
You're giving me a challenge here to get my teeth stuck into something. Well, like you led with at the front there, it's like we got emails multiple times a week from people all across the globe saying, oh, I'm in such and such a place. Do you have a trainer there? Do you know anybody who does high intensity training there? Do you know anybody who's got Medex equipment there? Do you know anybody who's got Nautilus equipment near me? And it was like, then you'd have to sort of step back and like search around, maybe ask around as well. And we realized that what we wanted to do was put out a really, really good directory that allows facilities to highlight what they do, what equipment they use, the hours they're open for, all of that stuff. And we wanted to make it really simple for the individual looking for a facility to use. So we decided to make it map-based. So when you land on that directory page on hituni.com, kind of one of the first things you'll see is a global map. So you don't have to know the name of a facility to find it. You don't have to go, I'm looking for Optima Strength. You can go, I'm in Ireland, Southern Ireland, and I'm looking for a HIT facility. Oh, who's there? There's Optima Strength in Galway. You can see it on the map close to where you want to be. Click on the icon on the map, and then you can dive into the Optima Strength page. The very first thing is just a little thing that pops up, giving you the address, giving you the phone number, giving you the logo of the facility. And then you can click into that facility's page then, where there's an about section where they can write a profile on what they do, the kind of people they work with, the equipment they have, all the services they offer, whether they're doing, offer things like a free introductory appointment, whether they use free weights, whether they use, machines, whether they do rehab, all of those, 20, 25 different things, that by default, you can say you offer to the user. And then, all the contact details, all the opening hours. So it's like super simple to find out, is there somewhere near me? And what do they do? How do they operate? How do I get in touch with them? And that was the purpose in doing this. And giving high intensity training facilities a platform to really kind of show off on as well. So it's not just like your address and a link to your website. It's an opportunity for you to share the HITuni platform and have a whole page to yourself and your facility, and to promote what you're doing. And you don't need to have trainers that are HITuni certified either. We made a really conscious decision that this is something we wanted to do for the high intensity training community, the people who are working in a similar minded way to us. And, that has an umbrella that can include sort of quite a wide range of volume and frequency. But
how do you vet that? Yeah.
So the first thing we do when somebody has submitted all their details is to take a look at what they've submitted and what their offering is, go to their website and get a good understanding of their website. So in some ways, as a user looking for a facility, we're not vetting them for saying this is their ability, their individual trainer's ability to provide, the most optimal exercise thing possible, prescription training possible. This is a place for you to come and find, okay, is there anything close to me, a facility close to me that does the type of training that I might have read about in Body by Science, or I might have come across on Lawrence's podcast, or reading a blog post on HITuni, or wherever it is that you've sort of been exposed, or something on YouTube, been exposed to high intensity training. And people get really fired up, and they kind of want to find somewhere. And it's to say, look, there's these people here that do this. So it's not policed in that way. If somebody is HITuni certified, or their trainers have a certain certification, that will be on there as well. So you can see that. But it's really, from our perspective, for the community who are presenting this type of exercise. And so actually, while I think about it, to maybe get to your answer like super quick, if we got somebody's website and they say we have people train, 5 days a week for an hour at a time, they're not going to get that submission approved to be on here. So it's going to fall under, within the evidence-based high intensity training perspective of what exercise is. We'll make sure that facility is on there. So like sort of 1 to 3 times a week, 30 minute, 15, 20, 30 minute sessions, volume of, 3 exercises to maybe even 2 exercises at one end to like 10, 12, around that volume at the top. That it's, from sort of what you'd call classic 70s hit to like low volume Mensa inspired hit, anything that falls under that paradigm, your facility belongs on here. And we've launched with this, I think we've got 62 facilities there now. And so there's partners of ours and there's people we know haven't submitted their facilities yet, and friends of ours who haven't. So get on there. It's a great opportunity. Yeah, Lawrence is on there.
Everyone. Yeah. I mean, I'm on there, so why wouldn't you? No. One of the opportunities I wanted to take advantage of on this podcast is tell everyone, go to hituni.com/HIT-gyms, or just go to hituni.com and you'll see obviously the HIT studio directory at the top, HIT gym directory, and just submit your studio, because like I said, there's quite a few that need to do that. And the more we have on there, the more we're going to just help the entire industry, because like you said there, this is an opportunity to really help the overall community. And I love that you have not been strict about you have to do a HITuni qualification. I love that you've been more open than that. And also, it gives other studios means to find studios when their clients move or travel, right? They can just go to your directory, which is really easy to use. It's a great user experience, as you've already explained. And they can just find other studios and then find the studios that are going to work for their clients who have like relocated or traveled or whatever. So no, it's great, and the way you present it is really good, and I'm very, very excited about it and the impact it might have. And I like anything that makes my life easier. So if someone emails me, and rather than using my really crappy Evernote file, which has got like, if someone says to me, I'm trying to find a studio in the UK, I've got like an Evernote file I use, but it's like terribly presented and it's probably not correct. So the fact that I can just point them to your directory is just...
This sounds like the Rolodex of the like 2010s.
yeah, exactly. But let me ask you, what I think one of the cool things about this, as we've already talked about, is it's great for clients. It's great for people that so many people stumble across this. They read Body by Science and they're like, where can I find somewhere to train like this, right? Mm-hmm. But the other massive thing here is the employment opportunity as well, right? If people get certified for HITuni, or they get into HIT and they learn about it and they want to get a job in it, then suddenly they can use this directory to find local hiring.
Exactly. And so we have this option for the facility owner or manager, when they're first signing up their facility. Are you looking for staff? Where can potential staff members contact you and so on? Do you have a landing page for career vacancies? And you can have that permanently under your listing for sort of typically for bigger facilities who are almost always looking for good trainers. And if you don't fill that in during the initial submission, when you, as a smaller facility or medium-sized facility, if you are at any point looking for staff, you'll just email us again and say, I'm looking for staff, put something up on there. And so you're essentially advertising your need for trainers in a place where the people looking at this site and looking at this directory are going to be coming from a similar value perspective in terms of exercise to your facility.
Yeah. And a lot of high intensity training business owners right now are struggling to find good candidates. So this is another way you can find the right candidates. I mean, obviously we know of a lot of studio owners who understand that they can't get, the Body by Science disciples every time they go out to get a trainer. So they have to be a bit smarter than that. And they have to have onboarding and ongoing training to get people, who might not come from that background to understand this philosophy. But the cool thing about HITuni is actually you might end up attracting people who have already got that background, right? And that skill set.
You might just jumpstart or leapfrog that whole process. Yeah.
And it's important to say it took me like no time at all to obviously give you the details you needed for my listing. And this does not take much time.
It shouldn't take longer than five minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Really to fill it all in and you're done. And then, once it's been approved at our end, it'll be live on the site. Your little pin will be on the map, showing where you are. And so I did mention that. I suppose another thing to mention is you don't have to search via the map. If you know the facility's name, you can put the facility's name into the top. Or if you're just looking you want to just say at the top, I don't know why you wouldn't want to zoom in, but if you just wanted to put Milwaukee instead of zooming in, you could type in the state or the country or the city. And again, the map will zoom into the place you are looking. And I think you covered something really cool as well, is there is that travel thing. So like somebody who's traveling, you can see, if I'm in Australia, I can go there. If I'm in Hawaii, there's a place there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a huge advantage to being listed on here. And I'm just looking at it now. I'm just thinking if there's anything else that we really need to cover. We probably covered everything. Are you got any other thoughts? Joe, one of the things I did want to ask you is, what are your goals with this beyond where you are now? Is there any kind of anything else like long term that this is leading toward, or is it just about really getting everyone listed?
Well, first of all, I'd like this to be a place where, as the high intensity training community, we can show to the world the the strength of us, how many of us are already out there providing, a fairly within the fitness industry unique proposition and helping, hundreds of thousands of people. And there are people doing this with slightly different flavors, different equipment, slightly different perspectives, but the end goal is the same. I would say it's the efficiency and the safety and the results of the client. And that's what we in this industry tend to care about most. And funnily enough, that's what our clients tend to care about who do come to us, those three things. And it's providing a place for people across the globe to be able to find a facility where that is possible for them. And I would just like this to grow into just a phenomenal number of facilities on there. So this can represent the growth of the evidence-based high-intensity training community around the globe. And I think there's a real opportunity right now as people, fingers crossed, touching wood and all that stuff, come out of sort of lockdown and that fear of being out and about and start to get out and about more. And they're looking for something more boutique. They're looking to go to a place where they're not surrounded by 10 other sweaty people at the same time or 100 other sweaty people at the same time. And we have a real opportunity right now to take advantage of that situation. And there are more people considering this as a business. There are more places I'm hearing about, or trainers starting at HITuni.com and starting up their road to becoming a trainer or opening a facility. And this is just a great period of opportunity. And I would, HITuni's been like, I'm really grateful for the people who, engage with us, who read our blogs, who take our courses. And this is a way of sort of giving back to the community as well. It's providing for free. It's not something we ever want to charge for. It's not something that there's going to be some kind of like, you have to pay to be on there. This is intended to be something for the community and another place that the community can come together. And it's like, we need to not view other people in our niche as our competitors. They're our allies. They're people who are looking in the same direction, have very similar values more often than not. And this is just one of those places where we can show to the world that this is something that's growing and this perspective on exercise is here to stay and to expand.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I completely agree. And just a couple highlights there, you basically were talking about social proof as well. Like I sometimes think, well, I know there are individuals that they learn about high intensity training, they read Body by Science, and they're not aware of all these businesses around the world that are getting, people great results, that are doing well, generating good revenue, generating good profit. They're not aware of them. And this is like social proof. It's like, hey, you know what? There's all these businesses all around the world who are doing this. And like we've been saying, there's still many that need to get their listing on there. But I think that's going to be good for just the growth. I mean, people always ask me, like, occasionally ask me, what do you think we could do to improve high intensity training to make it more popular, right? Or I get that question, I end up, people want me to ask like Doug McGuff and Luke and people like that, right? They're not necessarily interested in my view on that necessarily.
I'm sure they are.
but no, I think this is a step in that direction. This is one of those things that is really going to help that, and that's why I really applaud you, because you're solving a problem that's existed for a while, where a directory like this has been something people have been demanding. This episode is brought to you by ARX. These are the most intense exercise machines I've ever used. I remember how fast the pull-down exercise took me to muscular failure and beyond. On the final negative or eccentric excursion, my tank was practically empty, but the adaptive resistance enabled me to continue to perform work until the predetermined end of the set. This experience was very profound and made me realize how effective ARX is in helping clients reach a high level of intensity in their workouts and ultimately produce the best results. I also love how ARX measures and tracks range of motion, rep cadence, total output and time, and more with real-time audio and visual feedback. These features are powerful sales and retention tools to help you convert and keep more clients. As a listener of the High Intensity Business podcast, ARX is offering you $500 off your machines. Just go to arxfit.com/HIB to book a call with the ARX sales team to learn how ARX can revolutionize and grow your fitness business. Again, go to arxfit.com/HIB. And now back to the episode. I also think, like you're saying, it's great for the community because there'll be so many people listed on there who aren't even aware of each other. Right. So it's great from, I guess, a client travels somewhere and they need to find a trainer to serve them. But also if they just want to like network and connect and learn how each other are doing things, there you go. There's a, whole directory there of businesses just like yours, right? Who you can learn from.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just thinking if people are tuning into this who have never listened to one of my episodes before and do not know what high intensity training is, we should probably and you have done this to an extent already, just define it for people. So just so someone's just tuning in and they're like, okay, so you got this directory of what gyms? Like, why is that important? I can just use Google for that. And I know I'm sorry, Simon, I'm asking you to kind of repeat yourself in a way, but you just want to articulate in a bit more concise for the layperson what makes a HIT studio different.
Okay. So I'd say the key thing is that the trainers and the owners of a HIT studio, a HIT facility, a HIT gym are going to be coming from a lens of exercise which focuses on safety, focuses on efficiency time-wise, and focuses on results. So those three things, they will have typically the ability to make the most of those three things in terms of their knowledge, their skill set, their experience, and the equipment often that they're using as well to make those three things, key aspects, a reality. So they have the education, the knowledge, the understanding, the ability to communicate it, and often specialist equipment that makes that easier for the individual looking to get results from this type of exercise. Now, out in the wider fitness world, it's a bit of a crapshoot as to what you get. And it could be you could be expected to train 6 days a week, or for an hour at a time, or to do X amount of cardio alongside this type of strength training. So you just don't know what you're getting. And if you are somebody who's just become aware of high intensity training, or you've read Body by Science, you're probably going to find it quite challenging if you just go out onto Google and sort of the general fitness facilities around you, looking to find somebody who does this. It's going to be tough. Whereas if you go to the HITuni.com directory, you're going to find people who specifically have put their details here and out there because they're doing what you're looking for. They specialize. They've got, in some cases, decades and decades and decades of experience of doing this. And in some cases, 5 years or more, but they have that experience of training people, working with people with this style of exercise. And as I mentioned before, there is a broad umbrella of what HIT, a fairly broad umbrella. It's quite narrow if you compare it to the rest of the fitness industry, but there are some people who are very low volume or compared to other people who do HIT. And there are some people who move at certain rep tempos and so on. And there are people who mix it up. But to us at HITuni, that falls under a broad umbrella of what high intensity training is. And the likelihood is if you've got somebody who's skilled at applying the way they do it with you and communicating that with you and using the tools that they have with you, you will get the results that you're reading about in books like Body by Science.
Well said. Yeah, I think, like you say, there's a big umbrella, and under that there is lots of different approaches to HIT. If I might add, though, I think, and let me know if you agree with this, Simon. I think it's probably fair to say that no one's really training clients more than 3 times a week, and they're not usually training them longer than like 45 minutes. So it's typically half hour, but it could vary a bit. It's typically once or twice a week.
That's a really good point. I think you're sort of capping what I said there. And even 45 minutes, I think, is a long session. And
I'm being generous.
I wouldn't stop somebody from putting their facility up if they did do 45-minute sessions. But yeah, I would typically say half an hour is probably sort of the peak length of session, typically in high intensity training. And
the thing that unites all of them would probably be, correct me if I'm wrong, is they're all going to do a single set to failure and maybe use advanced techniques. That's the biggest commonality, right? I can think of.
Yeah. I think by and large, yes. But again, if somebody uses a second set as a training, as a teaching tool or something like that, again, we could debate sort of where high intensity training stops and where volume training starts. But it's low volume, low frequency compared to what everybody else is doing with that lens on safety. But yeah, if somebody said, we do sessions for half an hour or 45 minutes, they'd get in there. But yeah, I'd say 3 times a week is capping the frequency stuff off pretty much, because once you go beyond that, unless you're like a serious hardcore athlete who's balancing everything in terms of their meals, their sleep, and everything, right, I think things start to break down at that point.
20 years of age.
In terms of, exactly, yeah. In terms of recovery from that stuff.
No kids, no responsibility.
Yeah, all this stuff that you're now facing, Lawrence, and probably many of your listeners, the realities of life is like, you need to be caring for everything as well as your fitness. And high intensity training gives you a way of caring for yourself, along with all the other pragmatic things you need to get on with as an adult in the world. So if you're 20 and you want to go at it for a few years, doing all sorts to find your limits, that's also fine. But there's some 20-year-olds who might just go, actually, I just want to my focus is on my gaming or whatever it is, and I just want to be fit to be able to do that, and this will do that for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Simon. That's probably, one thing I want to ask you before we wrap up is, what else is on the horizon for HITuni? So you've got all these amazing courses, blog posts, you've now got the directory. What's the future got in store for you guys?
So we're doing a bit of a catch up now, because we've sort of been working behind the scenes on editing and stuff like that. So we've got some really great interview footage with some of our trainers who've been through the certification process and are now making their way as businesses. And we want to use these as starting from fresh. Effectively, they did a HITuni certification and they're just starting their business. And we sort of want to document these people's experiences, because again, like people entering into this world, I think that's really valuable for people to have those stories and understand how this person actualized and made this thing happen for themselves. Somebody might have been studying law and then all of a sudden was like, I found this amazing thing of exercise, and my passion is actually not about law. It's to teach this form of exercise to the world, as one of those stories will be about. And
so many of those, right?
Yeah, and it's like getting this message,
X and I want to do HIT instead.
Yeah, and it's showing to people these stories and how that's possible. So we're going to be doing quite a bit of that.
That sounds awesome.
Which I'm really looking forward to getting that stuff out there, because I think it's that reality stuff. It's not the hype. It's not the sort of like selling something. It's showing an individual going through a process and how they did it and what their experience of doing that is. And I think that I certainly know for me as a 20-year-old, or how old was it at the time? I don't know, 19, 20, when I found out about HIT, when I was like, oh, this is amazing. How come nobody knows this? If I'd have known more people who were doing this, or it would have just been really, really useful for me. And I think that's something really cool. And it
goes back to the community, right? It's like you hear it all the time in this industry. People do feel lonely, because if you're in a state or a country or city or whatever, and there isn't a lot of these kind of studios around you, it can feel lonely because you're surrounded by all these other kind of mainstream fitness concepts. And obviously with, HIT business membership, I fought to solve that and connect people that way, and through the podcast, and now you're doing it as well. And so any way that we can make people feel part of a community, I think is is really helpful. So yeah,
Yes.
that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off. You were about to say something else.
Well, I think from that, I'm just getting back into I've got some other new blog posts coming up as well. And we started off before we started recording this call talking about how COVID's impacted the industry and what we've been for over the last few years. And we're really grateful to have trainers coming through at the moment. And so I'm just spending quite a bit of my time marking exams and interviewing people as they go through that final stage of the process as well. And then, really, it's about, for me, taking HITuni forward, it's about getting that quality of trainer out there into the world. And for people who, maybe have even been in the high intensity training niche, I've had people who've been, in the niche maybe 10, 15 years and then done our course and said, wow, I, saw things from a different perspective. And it's like, remember your education, remember reigniting your passion about this stuff. And it's getting the HITuni courses out there to people both new to this industry and those who aren't. The other thing we're doing more of now is custom courses. So we've got facilities coming to us and saying, we love your offering, but we'd also like to make it even more applicable to our facility where we have very strict guidelines over this aspect, or we specifically want to focus on this thing. So we're working with more facilities creating their custom courses. So they have exactly what they want to onboard their new trainers with as a tool. So their trainers come in, they land, they learn exactly what they want them to do. And I'm excited about providing that service to facilities because I know it just makes their onboarding process that even easier. And if you have like a high turnover, you're struggling to find good staff, this can just simplify that process for you.
Yeah, I love that. I totally agree. I think that is a great idea as well. And I think most listeners will know that I am a huge fan of your courses and have been promoting them for years now. And the personal training course, which I did a while ago now, I refer to it all the time, like every single week. I'm going in there and I'm looking at the resources around the exercise directory that you have there, like, the target muscles for each exercise, because there's not a lot of, that I can think of, reliable resources for that online. And I know by going to HITuni, I'm going to get a really kind of targeted answer to the questions I've got, which is tailored to our type of business. So I found it so good to go back to. And I've had so much good feedback from people who, like you say, who already have a skill level in HIT, but want to learn something new, want to kind of revisit the materials and take a HITuni course. And even if they already know like 60% of it, there's like 40% that they pick up, which they can then integrate into their training of clients. Any parting thoughts before we wrap up?
Well, yeah, I suppose thank you for doing what you do, Lawrence. I love listening in to your show and that and that value that you provide to the community and the work that you do and opening your facility. So like putting that out in the world as well. So you've got those two aspects. I think that's awesome. And
thank you, sir.
I know there are so many people who benefit from that. And there are so many people who come to HITuni and say, I heard about you on Lawrence's podcast you're another sort of mainstay providing a huge amount of value in this industry. And I think the other thing I'd like to say is, just to every facility owner who's stayed strong, done what they needed to do the last 2 years, despite what's going on in the world, like congratulations for sticking at it and amazing. And now, fingers crossed, we're moving towards a place where things are going to have that sort of moving back towards 2019 lifestyle rather than 2020 lifestyle. Like you will be positioned in a place to really take advantage of that. And the final thing I'd like to say is get yourself on the trainers directory. on HITuni.com as soon as possible. Like, this is the place where you can really advertise yourself, and you don't have to pay a penny for it. Take 5 minutes of your time, get yourself on there.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was about to say that. But no, thank you for your kind words. And it amazes me how there's still so few of us who are doing this stuff, who are putting content out there on high intensity training. I mean, I don't know, maybe there's others I'm not aware of, but there's still like a handful of us that are really kind of hammering it. And yeah, it's crazy to me, because I think there's just a big opportunity to be putting out content on this. I still think there's someone, maybe Jay Vincent does this, maybe there's a couple of guys actually who needs to do like a really good YouTube channel on like just, examples of exercises done this way, or their own workouts, kind of like James Steele was doing on his Instagram. I know he's not interested in doing that anymore, and that's fine. But yeah, there's just a lot of opportunity is what I'm saying. And yeah, to echo Simon's point, get your business listed, and you go to hituni.com/HIT-gyms, or you can go hituni.com and see the directory listed.
We've now
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yep. Yeah, we've now made that more prominent in the menu bar at the top of the site idea as well. So it's like super easy for you to find and for people looking for your facility to find.
Yeah, I just think there's so many benefits to being listed that we talked about in this podcast, in terms of promoting your location to clients, to potential new trainers, to other studios whose clients are traveling. There's so many benefits. It's free promotion, and it takes 5 minutes. It's a total no-brainer. And if you go to episode 341 on highintensitybusiness.com, you'll also have a link straight to a directory from there as well. And important to mention, we've already said this to a degree, but just to emphasize it, HITuni is the e-learning provider that specializes in delivering courses on high-intensity training and evidence-based fitness. So if you're looking to become a HIT personal trainer or upgrade your existing skill set, as a listener of this show, you can get 10% off using the coupon code HIB, which is high intensity business, HIB10 on your selected course over at hituni.com/HIB. Simon, great to see you again. Glad you're doing well. Obviously, we've talked about HITuni, but is there anything else you want to, any other way people can contact you or anything like that?
Best way for people to get in touch with any questions around any of this stuff. I'm always happy to help. And so my email is the best way to get in touch with me, simon@hituni.com, or via Facebook, HITuni on Facebook, those are the two best places. Like, either email me direct, because I will definitely see that email and respond, or get in touch over Facebook, the HITuni Facebook. That's it.
Nice one. And for everyone listening, to find the blog post for this episode, please go to highintensitybusiness.com, search episode 341, and without any further ado, that's the wrong time to say that. Thank you very much for listening. This episode is brought to you by ARX. You want to be a successful strength training studio owner. The problem is you aren't able to deliver the safest, most efficient and effective workouts, making it harder for you to attract and retain clients, which makes you feel frustrated. I understand that it can be difficult to differentiate your business without the right tools. ARX's breakthrough adaptive resistance technology uses patented motorized resistance and computer software to give you and your clients the perfect workout every single time. BioFit founder John Zarbok says that ARX is clearly the superior tool to deliver the exercise stimulus. My clients are seeing insane improvements in weeks, not months. I could not fathom running my business without ARX. So here's how you get started. Number 1, go to arxfit.com/HIB to get $500 off your ARX machines. Number 2, book a call with the ARX sales team. And number 3, learn how ARX can help you grow your strength training business. Go to arxfit.com/HIB so you can stop struggling to attract and retain clients and start to grow your strength training business with confidence.